Yes, mates, how's it going? My name's Lee. Welcome back to the channel for another FPL video. Today going through my game week 7 transfer targets and some of the players I'm looking at and some of the players you should be looking at. If that's the kind of thing you're into, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like and leave a comment down below. Let's rock and roll. Alright mates, first up we've got Kieran Trippier. If you're looking for a defender, this is one of the first players you should be looking at. He's on fire this season, mate. Newcastle look really good. As you can see from the heat map there, he's got red dots over the corner flags. He's on a lot of set pieces. He's bombing up and down that right wing. He got 8 points last week. He's got 30 points in total. He has got 1 goal. No assists as of yet, but he does have an XA of 0.8. I've given him a transfer score of 5 stars out of 5. Got some really nice fixtures coming up. West Ham away, even though it seems like a tough game on paper, I think they are capable of keeping a clean sheet. Bournemouth at home, Fulham away, Brentford at home, and then you've got United as well, but you don't know what United are going to be like at that point. If you can only make one transfer, and you do want to transfer a defender, he's someone I'd definitely look at, because like he's on a lot of set pieces, he's always capable of assists and goals, and yeah, Newcastle look very good. Decent. On to the next defender, Lewis Dunk. Brian just looks solid at the back. Well, absolutely rock solid. He's not as attacking as Trippier, and I would only go for Dunk over Trippier if you are going for that 2-week punt of the game week 7 and 8, and then you're looking to wildcard around game week 9 or 10. He doesn't get involved with a lot of attacking anymore. He doesn't get as many goals as he used to. But he's about as good as a clean sheet you can get in those 2 games. He's just solid, and every now and again, like, he does pop up with a goal. Like I said, like he hasn't done it as much recently. If he's someone that you want to look at for a bit more stability, like a bit on the cheaper side, like I said, he's only 4.6 mil. He's not owned by a lot of people. Then he's definitely someone to look at. It just depends if you've already got Sanchez in goal, whether you want to double up on the Brighton defence. I don't always like doubling up on defenders and goalkeepers, because if they concede a goal, it completely wipes anything out. I didn't put a heat map in there because he's a centre-back, but he's kind of just around the centre circle region. He doesn't even pass the ball or touch the ball as much as he used to. He's a solid option. Decent clean sheet odds. If you want to downgrade someone like, I don't know, a Trent or something like that, like one of the Liverpool boys, it's definitely an option if you want to transfer some funds about and look at some more expensive assets further up the field. On to the man in the moment, Sir Marcus Rashford. Got 18 points in his last game against Arsenal. He got 2 goals and 1 assist in that game. He's got a total points of 40. He has an XG of 2.1 with 3 goals and an XA of 1.4 and 2 assists. I've given him a transfer score 4 out of 5 stars. I think he's a good option. I would kind of hold off bringing him in. A ton of people already brought him in. 640,000 people have already brought him in. I would be a little bit wary that he did pull up with a hamstring, a potential hamstring injury. So I wouldn't bring him in straight away. I'd wait for these midweek games, see how United play against Real Sociedad. See if he plays, see if he's on the bench. It's probably better that he's on the bench and as opposed to being started, then he gets that rest. If he starts, I think he will still play a part in the weekend game against Palace, but he might not play full 90, which might be an issue. You can see from his heat map, even when he plays up front, he always drifts over to the left. I think he's a much better left winger. He's more explosive, he can touch the ball more, and he's facing play. I don't think he's great when he's back to play, back towards goal, sorry, and his hold-up play isn't great. His passing's not that good, particularly as a focal point, as a number 9. And you kind of see it when Ronaldo came on, that he's kind of backing in, he's winning headers, he's winning flick-ons, just little reverse passes around the corner, like running the channels. And Rashford doesn't do that as well as a proper number 9 in my opinion, but he's got some decent fixtures. He's similar to Lewis Dunk. If you want to have a short-term gamble against Palace and Leeds, I think he's a decent option. I think he's a good option. Just be wary of the injury. I would wait for the midweek games against Real Sociedad, and if he plays, or if he's on the bench or whatever, then I'd bring him in. A ton of people have already brought him in, because if he doesn't play part in any of that game, if he's not on the bench or anything, or he gets ruled out, then you've kind of wasted a transfer. Hold off a little bit, make it as a last-minute transfer, in my opinion. On to the new boy, Anthony. Good goal against Arsenal, took it really well. I thought Ramsdale should have been better, to be honest. He looked okay. He only played an hour. I don't think he's worth $1 million more than Rashford, though. Just straight off the bat. That's the reason why I've given him a transfer score of 3 out of 5. I think he's a good option. I think his minutes are probably more guaranteed than any United player in the starting lineup. Ten Hag loves him. Knows exactly how to play. Similar to Rashford in the sense it's a short-term option. because the fixtures do get a little bit hard after that with the City and Newcastle games, Everton in the middle. But against Palace and Leeds, I think he's a good option. He looked pretty good, like he looked pretty explosive. I think over the coming time, he will see more of the ball. I think what you'll see as well is as Anthony drifts inside, you'll see Dalot and they overlap quite a lot. I think Dalot will become a better option. I was going to put him in this video, but I thought 3 United players was a bit of overkill, and maybe like my bias is kind of dripping through, so I kind of laid off on that one, as it were. But like another one of those, like if you wanted a cheap defender, particularly from United, I think Dalot's a good option as well. He's a good player, good minutes. I think he'll get goals and assists throughout the season. But if you have the choice between Anthony and Rashford, I'm taking Rashford all day long if he's injury free. Easy one for me. On to the last midfielder of the video, Leandro Trossard. He's looked pretty good this season, to be fair to him, and I was always concerned about minutes with Trossard, but because he can play in a variety of positions, like he got a Stupinan got dropped on the weekend, and you've seen Trossard drop into the left wing back. So even when a left wing back or left back comes on, he just gets pushed further forward. He's got a really nice ownership of 3.8%. It's a good price. He's got steady kind of chugging away with points, 32 points in total. 2 goals from an XG of 1.5 and 2 assists from a 0.9. Similar to Rashford, I give him 4 out of 5 stars. I think he is a short-term option again. Those Bournemouth and Palace games, and then he's got Liverpool, Spurs and Brentford. He is a very short-term option. And if you didn't want to go down the United route, I think the Brighton route is more than an acceptable route. He's actually a really good finisher, and particularly when he gets in that left wing position, like he's so direct that I wouldn't worry too much about him missing chances or anything like that, and I wouldn't worry about his minutes. Because even when he does play left wing, if they go maybe 2 or 3 goals up and he's already got some involvement, I don't see him coming off. I see him getting dropped back to left back, like more than anything else. Like he seems to be trusted a little bit more than a Stupinan. I see a lot of people have already brought that guy in as well. I think he's a good option. I think he's a really good option. And if you are thinking about a transfer midfield, it's maybe a toss-up between Rashford and Trossard for that short-term option. But it all depends on whether you've wildcarded or not. And if you haven't wildcarded, I think it's a good option. If you have already wildcarded, I probably wouldn't be looking at these kind of players. I'd be looking at maybe some kind of Newcastle assets who've got really good long-term fixtures. Onto the forwards, and I've been banging on about this guy for about 4 weeks now, and I finally got some returns. I got 2 blanks in the first 2, and then a hat-trick in the third games. 17-point haul. He just looks like an absolute monster at the minute. I think if you haven't got him, he's got really nice fixtures coming up. He kind of rotates relatively well with Mitrovic as well. After game week 9 or 10, Ivan Toney's got Bournemouth in game week 9, and I think Mitrovic has got Bournemouth in game week 10. So it's an easy transfer just to drop down to Mitrovic there. 5 out of 5 stars. He's just bullying people at the minute. And he took a free kick on the weekend, and it was a really good free kick. I don't know if he's on them full time. One to keep your eye on, but he's a 90-minute player. Minutes are going to be so crucial this season. If you do want something like that, like if you are worried about minutes with like a Haaland, like I'm not comparing Tony with Haaland, but you know Haaland's going to lose out on minutes. Other players are going to miss out on minutes. Ivan Toney, guaranteed minutes, 90 minutes every single game. He's an easy pick for me, and I'm going to keep him until game week 9, maybe transfer him out. I am going to wildcard game week 9, but he's going to stay in. Mitrovic is going to come in game week 10. Then maybe something along those lines. I haven't quite thought that far ahead. He's got a positive goals to XG ratio. He's overperforming his XG. He's even getting involved with the assists as well. Decent ownership, really good price, and managers are clicking on. 380,000 transfers in. People are starting to realise how good he is. I just think he's a top quality player. And if any team's looking for a striker next summer, I think he's high on the list. I would have commit United this summer, but with the whole Ronaldo situation, I could see Ronaldo leaving, Ivan Toney coming in. He just looks like a really solid player, and I think he's ready for that step up. England's going to be calling soon. On to the most controversial player of the video, Ollie Watkins. Right, listen to me, yeah? Just listen to me on this. He's got a really low ownership, 2.3%. He's got a negative net transfers of 15,000. They played City last game. I wouldn't get too hung up on that. He has still got 23 points in 6 games. He isn't doing as bad as people think. They're not creating a lot of chance at the minute, and that's the problem with Villa, but they have got a really nice run of fixtures. Leicester are shocking. Southampton aren't great. Leeds are open. Forest are open. They've got some 4 nice games in a row. If I already played my wild card, maybe like game week 5 or 6, I'm looking at Ollie Watkins straight away. I think he's a really good price. I wouldn't necessarily put him ahead of Ivan Toney. But if you need that third slot midfielder, like if you've got somebody like a Luis Diaz or something like that, and you want to downgrade and go for somebody a bit cheaper, like a Pascal Gross or Trossard, Rashford, something like that, and you want to upgrade a striker, I think Ollie Watkins is a really good option. Really solid option. He will start scoring goals eventually, and whether it just depends whether you're ready to gamble on that and take a risk on that, and whether you catch it at the right time, because he's ready to explore. And I believe he's on penalties when Ings isn't on the pitch as well. Really solid option. If I was wildcarding now, there's a potential to be in my team ahead of someone like a Mitrovic. Yeah, bring him in. Easy. So at the minute, I'm seeing a lot of people talking about when to wildcard, or like why should they wildcard at certain points or whatever. I'm looking at a game week 9 wildcard, and I'll kind of show you the reason why. So this is it's a relatively template team besides the odd player here and there. Like I have Diaz over Cancelo. I've still got Cucurella in there. Tony's probably a differential in there as well. But yeah, you can see that they've got a lot of tough games. Liverpool's fixtures start to get really tough after this point. City have got a couple of tough games in there as well. Brighton's fixtures get a little bit harder from this point in the next 6. So it's like even Arsenal have got some tough games over the next 4. So this to me is a really good, like a really nice week to wildcard, and I kind of go through them one by one. I'll show you what I mean. So like you've got someone like Sanchez in goal, got pretty tough fixtures after this point, and I'm looking at someone like a Pope, a little bit more expensive. But like you can see from the fixtures, they've got the odd tough game in there somewhere, but he's a solid keeper, and the way Newcastle kind of play is a bit like Burnley used to play. They allow low XG chances, so he gets a lot of save points. Onto the defence, I'd probably still keep Trent, even though they've got some tough games. I would definitely upgrade Diaz to Cancelo. I would still keep him in, because he's just such a solid option, and they've got good games in between, and he's always available for attacking returns. Whether you wanted to downgrade that to a Walker is entirely up to you, or keep a Diaz, or even look at someone else completely. I would get rid of Cucurella. I would bring in someone like Fofana. I would keep James as well. They've probably got the best fixture of the lot in my opinion. My sub defender, I mean, it wouldn't be a sub. I'd definitely bring in Trippier. 100% I'd bring in Trippier. You are doubling up on the Newcastle defence there. Whether that bothers you, that's up to you, mate. But I'd be looking at Trippier. I think he's solid. He's on set pieces. I spoke about him in the video as well. He's on a lot of set pieces, and they look decent defensively as well. Salah's one of the big ones. I would probably get rid. They're really tough games, but if I was getting rid, I would try and get him back in for maybe that stretch of the Forest, Leeds, Southampton, and Villa. Not the Villa game, because that's when the next wild card is. And he burnt me at the beginning of the season, but I'm actually looking at Sterling. Really considering Sterling. They've got a run of about 6 games that are pretty good. Brighton's tougher than that. Like Brighton's a great fixture in my opinion, but those 3 games are really good games, and it just depends whether Chelsea can sort their issues out before that point. Luis Diaz, I'm looking at someone like a Zaha, really solid player. They've got Chelsea this game week, but you could always risk him for them. Like Leicester is not a red fixture. It's a grey at most. They're so poor. Right up front, I would still keep Haaland. I would get rid of the Arsenal boys. I would get rid of Jesus and Martinelli, but it's up to you if you wanted to keep Martinelli because there's so much money invested. I would look at someone like Isaac. I think is a really nice option. Same again, they've got good games. Or whether you wanted to just go straight to Mitrovic, and that's up to you whether you wanted to do that. Got really nice games. You could keep them all the way, even for those games if you really wanted to. I wouldn't recommend them playing those last 2, but they've got a run of about 6 games that are really good. And he goes straight into the team. I would keep Tony for the time being, probably up to maybe even Brighton, and then maybe get rid after that. There are a few nice options after that point, and he's probably someone just to keep your eye on there. And if you want to move him on, then feel free. So onto the bench, I'd probably still keep Ward because he's a playing 4 million keeper, and they have got the odd fixture in there. Like if you wanted to play him against Forest and Bournemouth, then they are decent options in there as well. Martinelli would go for me, and I'd look at someone like Maddison. Same again, really nice fixtures. Still playing for his England place. He's got a run of about 5 games there that are really good. You could even rest him for the City game, playing against Everton and West Ham. Like I said, he's still pushing for that England place, and he's definitely someone I'd be looking at bringing in. I'd keep Andreas Pereira, but I would probably get rid of De Silva. He's 4.6 mil. and I'd be looking at maybe someone like Leon Bailey. I would keep a bit of money in the bank. I've got 1.4 in the bank there, and that's like in a few weeks' time where I can upgrade Sterling to a Salah or something like that. So for this first game, I'd maybe be looking at some. I'd probably take Zaha out, you know. I might even play Fofana. No, I wouldn't. I'd play Zaha. I'd definitely play Zaha. And that's a pretty solid team, in my opinion. Even though you've got Cancelo and Haaland against United, I think they'll do quite well. I'm not too concerned about that. And you've got nice rotation as you kind of flick through the weeks. Same again. You could even play Bailey and replace him with Trent. I probably wouldn't do that, but you know, like it's always an option. You've got good captaincy options in there as well. And as you kind of flick through the weeks, like this is not like making any changes at all. You can kind of see that some of these boys just easily come and slot straight in. I'd probably start Andreas, you know. I don't know who for. Probably Bailey. He can pop in there. And I won't worry too much about against United. Like, he's going to get save points. I think Trippier's always capable of returns. Maybe even captain Mitrovic that week as well. And as you kind of see, like, flicking through the weeks, everyone's got good fixtures again, probably besides Toner. But you can just easily pop in Trent or something like that onto the next week. Some tough games in there this time, but there are like I haven't used any transfers by this point, so you've already got 4 transfers that you can kind of plan for this point. I wouldn't worry too much. I'd definitely take out Fofana. I'd probably leave James in. I might even keep the Newcastle boys in there as well, but you definitely want Cancelo in there somewhere. So you could even just get rid of one if you wanted to and play Cancelo. But 3 up front seems the way forward for me. They've got some solid games. Everyone's got some really nice fixtures. Same again. Game week 14, good fixtures. Game week 15, couple of tough games in there, but just use your bench again. Doesn't matter, does it? Like, you pretty much kind of set up until I'd have to play James there. But like I said, this is what I'm using any transfers at all. And the team kind of just runs itself. Good team in my opinion. So that's the reason why I'm thinking game week 9 over game week 7 or game week 8 is that you can kind of plan for these fixture swings. And even me going up to game week 16 there, I haven't used any transfers at all. And you can kind of plan and you can kind of prepare if you get any injuries or red cards or anything like that. Or you can look at maybe some other players. But that's the reason why I'm thinking game week 9 as opposed to anything else. Some teams have already got some good games, good fixtures this week. So if I go back to the beginning one, go back to game week 7, sorry. Salah's got Wolves. Jesus has got Everton. He's obviously going to pop back in there. That's my team for this week. I'm not sure if I'm going to make any changes. I might keep it as it is and just maybe keep my free transfer, carry it over, and then take a 1 game week punt, making 2 transfers, bringing in 2 completely random players, and just see if I can just attack the fixtures just kind of head on with those 2 free transfers. But some players have already got some good games, even in game week 8 as well. Yeah, like this, you've got Liverpool against Chelsea, but you've got those 2 free transfers that you can use. So whether you want to take the Chelsea boys out, bring them back in on the wild card, like it's always an option. I am considering Salah down to somebody other, or maybe even a De Bruyne. Salah down to De Bruyne, and Diaz down to Rashford if he's fit, maybe, or something like that is maybe what I'm thinking about. But you've got some nice options in there, and I would just keep your options open. I wouldn't commit to a wild card right now, and if it is something you wanted to do, just kind of be careful about it and do kind of use a site. It's called FPL.team. It's a really good site. You can flick through the game weeks and you can have a look at things. It does give you projected points as well of players, and it just allows you to kind of assess your team moving forward and just look at game week by game week and see if you're making the right decision. Alright mates, that's it for today's video. So I went through my game week 7 transfer targets, some of the players I'm looking at and some of the players that you should be looking at. And then we also looked at some wildcard options, when to do it, who to bring in, and then just some potential fixture swings moving forward. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, leave a like and leave a comment down below if you think I've missed anything. Peace and love, man.